Hello, and welcome to the stream. I hope everyone is doing well. I hope you're all good. Let's get those mental health check-ins in the chat, please. I'd much appreciate it. And remember that what we usually do here, we like, we share, we subscribe, and we hit that notification bell to let you know when videos go live. And tomorrow I will have the what's it called? I will have the preview out for tomorrow night for Sunday game. So just bear with me while I get that up tomorrow. I've seen a lot of people put it out like 2 days early or so, and I don't normally do that even if it's a normal game, so I wasn't going to do it either. I like doing it the night before. It just gives me a bit of a schedule and a bit of a routine. But we're going to talk about this week. Evening, SWFC. Evening, Danny. Evening. I think it was Michael. Let me just make sure. It might have been Michael. I'm sure it was Michael. I am not aware. It was Michael. Evening, darling. I don't know how long I will go live for tonight. I am very shattered. It's been a very, very long week, and it's going to be a longer weekend. Jake, what are we going to? I will not be going to the derby, mate. A, couldn't get tickets. B, couldn't get somebody who I could go with. I will be watching it. I think Dex has got the watch along for the derby. And of course, the plug bit don't work. It'll be on Dex's channel if you want to watch the watch along. But there will be a review by me for it. So I'm going to try and get the second leg of the watch along from Hilper. So I'm going to try and get that one instead. But we'll see. Ian Jed, the Giant Chicken, how you doing, mate? I hope you're well. Hope all is good. But it's an interesting weekend, isn't it? Everything has been building up to this game. Just this game. And it's that stupid thing now that you got where you are like, right, this is everything we're looking at trying to get to now. And it's been one of those situations where we have been waiting for the longest time to get this derby. And a lot of people are still quite nervous about it. My mental health check-in, mate, it's about a 6. About a 6, mate. I'm just knackered. Ian Timothy, how you doing, mate? What's yours, SWFC? Mine's a 6 at the minute. First derby in 5 years. Yeah, it's been such a long time. And we haven't won a derby since 2012. So there've been a lot of things like that haven't happened either. So we need to change that really soon. It needs to change, and hopefully it can. But it's gonna be interesting to see when they do, what Danny sets the team out. If you looked at the press conference today, it was very, very clear that he hasn't made up his mind on who is in the team. He said there's about 3 or 4 slots. I think it was 2 or 3, sorry. Slots 3. And he's waiting to see who can get in those slots. So it'll be interesting to see what that team lineup looks like. But for one, I'm in this two minds. Like, I want it to be done and dusted and get it over with. We got 3 points out of the 4 points I said we were going to get when we were about to play Norwich, because I wasn't looking too hopeful for that. But I said before, this team has a stupidly daft thing where it comes back from games. It comes back into life, and I don't know what it is. I generally don't know what it is about this team and the players who, when they get a setback, they come back roaring. And we need to keep that all season long. Ian, Daniel, how you doing, mate? All right, mate, I really hope we win. I would love to do it. Come on, Wednesday. Oh, I would love it if we did it. If we want to do the old Kevin Keegan Classic, I'd love it if we did it. It would be good for us to do, but it's a tough task. They're a good team. They're a very good team. Like, Danny gave them a lot of praise today. So did Josh Windass. He said he's not going to flag anyone else. I thought Josh spoke really well as well when he spoke to the media. I think he always speaks quite well, to be fair. He got a tag for some reason in our fan base that people think he's quite thick and he's not quite intelligent. So we'll see. We'll see. 21 people watching, 8 likes. But if we can have a game where it's a good atmosphere, I want to hear not much stuff off the pitch, so fans can try and be a bit sensible. Now that's a hard one to do. And let's hope we can just put up a battling performance. If we go out there and say we lost 1 or 2-0, but we gave a really good performance and we've tried to pepper their goal, I think the part of me that goes, I'm okay with that, but I want to make sure we turn up. I don't want us to play the occasion. I want us to play the game. And the thing is, we know what our away support can do. And with this being the first one in such a long time, there might be some players in there that will breathe. Just hope we play well. Same. I think that's all anyone's asking for. All anyone's asking for is to have a good game. Have a good game and play well. Like, if we can go into the international break with 4 points instead of like just the 3, then fantastic. If we can go in there with all 6, that's even better. The problem is this league is so up and down. And I think one of the things that was quite interesting, they had Warnock ringing Radio Sheffield. And he said it best. Sheffield Wednesday on their day can beat anyone. But Sheffield Wednesday can also be their own downfall and get smashed by anyone. And that's the issue. On our day, we're very good. On our day, we're very shit. And this is something that needs to be addressed mentally. And I think it is a mental thing. I think it's sometimes to get a bit too complacent when after coming out of a half. But there's enough players in that squad who are either been around Wednesday for a long time, haven't played in one, and would like to be the guy. I can imagine, right? I can imagine this being a game that Josh Windass is well up for, to be that guy who scored in the derby, to like go, yeah, I won this. And I love that. I love him to be the person to get it. But is that something that could happen? Maybe. But at the same time, it all depends on how we turn up, because we know what the squad is like if they don't turn up. It's been a good week, though, if you think about it. If you think about this week, it's been a really good week for us. We got some players back on the grass, like Michael Owikway and Chalobah. If Chalobah keeps going in the right direction, Chalobah will be back at some point after the break, which is what we need. Derby Merritt, Atpo, Soji, Stephen Watson, Marcus Douglas, JJ getting sent off. Yep. Dawson penalty, you want recent ones where he did the penalty save. It's one of those things where it's going to be such a good game, but I can imagine watching it's going to be horrible. Like, generally, I think it's going to be absolutely horrible to watch without everything just goes, if that makes sense. And that's the bit I'm probably not looking forward to. I'll be honest with you. Just because it's that building yourself up and hoping that it doesn't go badly. And it's why I've not made any real predictions. It's a mixture of one of those things where I refuse to make I said it right a minute ago. Predictions. Because this is one that could come back and bite you in the backside. And it's one of those things that you can do well in a game like this. It could set you up for the rest of your season. Like, you win a derby and you haven't been consistent enough, it could be that thing that bounces you on. Like, you look at this week, Coventry sacking Mark Robbins. What the hell? I just didn't see that one coming. I thought they would have given him till at least Christmas. But we got Coventry, who are currently sitting in 17th. And the thing is, if they went on a run, they're closer to the playoffs than they are to the relegation to go on a run. It's like, you look at, I think it's something different, from about 4th place to 22nd. There's so many points away from playoffs, and then there's so many points away from relegation. And that's the thing, you can start building things up before the game on after the game on Tuesday, we're hitting around 13th, 12th. Games afterwards came and we'd gone back down to 15th. I'm getting a bit of the pre-Boxing Day massacre vibes about this. A clear statement that we was intent to overtake the Blunts in the ranking, or just me. It feels that way. It does feel that way. It feels like there's a bit of bite to this because they'll be keeping a close eye on what goes on in the Sunderland game. But they'll want, they will 100% want whoever Sunderland got at the weekend to not play well. Like, generally, they'll just won't want it to be a good game. For Sunderland, that is. And again, Sunderland, one of those teams where you look at them originally, they were going really well and flying, but then it suddenly they hit a snag. Like, I think what was it, weekend? They got 0-0 versus Preston. Who Sunderland got? Sunderland got Coventry tomorrow. It did the game that Sunderland suddenly go, hey, we've got a bit of a new... They got no manager, but they might have a new manager boost. There's a lot of... It's interesting because you look at Sunday and you look at the games. It's Derby, then it's Hull City West Brom at 1, and then it's Burnley Swansea, and you're like, why are some of them being played on Sunday? It doesn't make sense. It's just, I hope we can come out of this respectable and ready to go again, and be ready after that break and not dwell on too much. If it's a good win, take the win and enjoy it and ride that high. But if it's not, be on the ready to go. Right, we dust ourselves down. We don't mope about it. We look where we've gone wrong and we fix it. Danny in that press conference today was very much of the opinion of going, we're going to fight for every ball. We're going to fight for every blade of grass. We're not going to mess about with it. And that's something I really like. But words are cheap. Words are cheap. We only see... We'll see it on the day. Yeah, same. I think that's the thing. Even a draw for me, I'd be happy with a draw. I'd take a draw versus a Sheffield United team that's doing really well. I generally think that would be a good result for us. I'd like it to be a draw where we can either keep a clean sheet or at least put a dent, shots on target versus them. Both sets of teams play very similar with the way they play out from the back as well. So it's going to be interesting to see who gets that right. Chris Wilder, the seasoned pro in the championship, or Danny Ruled, a little bit of a novice. And we'll see. Much better than... Oh, yeah. Carlos just didn't get what this derby meant. Carlos didn't have a clue. He just thought it was just another game. He didn't understand it at all. And I think that really hit a bit of a... Oh, what's the word I want to say? Bit of a problem with the fan, but also Danny gets it. Danny has been involved in big derbies in Germany. Like Bundesliga, Schalke, Bayern, Dortmund. He's been involved. I think we can win it. The Blunts seem a bit complacent to me. They do at times. At times they do. There have been times where you see it. But here's the thing. Don't rule Sheffield United out because they are the masters of coming from behind and nicking it at the death. They are becoming that team that just doesn't give up till that final minute. And that's something we need to make sure that doesn't. But we've also got to have the thing as well. We need to gauge the level of energy in this game. Because we could go out the traps 100% going for it. And then by about the 30 or 15 minute mark be knackered. They need to be conservative with how they do it. Because we don't want to have that game where we're out the traps looking good and then we get sucker punched. We need to have it that we look good and consistent for both 45. But it's going to be... The interesting thing, once this is done, there's international break. There'll be a debrief on that Monday. The video on that Monday will also be what Danny said, as I do on all of them. And as a content creator, you've got to be careful about what people come into your streams or your videos after that, because you could get absolute idiots. I've had it before on the channel. from other clubs, so you got to be aware of that. But you've also got to be, you got to also not over-egg it if you do win, because things like that can come back and bite you in the ass. And I think there's so many times that I've seen it from people who do this kind of content where they said something and it just come back and bit them. And like, you don't want that clip to go viral. You want it to go viral for the right reasons. But we'll see. If we can get a win and we play good football and we put up a fight, I don't think anyone will have a problem with it. We just want to see fight. We just want to see the fight of the players going for it. We don't want to actually see a physical fight. If we're seeing an actually physical fight, send the wrong message and that could be a disaster. The last thing we want is people getting sent off. But that's the thing. Do you also think it can be kind of one of those games where there could be a red or two? Do you think it's going to live to that level of derbies? Because I think there's a lot of people around the country that there's not enough respect put on the Steel City Derby. Like, generally, I don't think the Steel City Derby is looked at as a big derby or a decent derby. And I don't know if that's because it's not happened in age. Yeah. The ref doesn't help. Oh, yeah, but I think some of the time Goldbridge knows it. Kind of thing. I think he generally knows it. Also, I do want to make one point. End of the month, we got hit with a embargo. And the statement from the club was it will get sorted out immediately. I'm slightly concerned that we're still embargoed, it's not been paid, but I don't know the in or out going on with that. I just want to play them off the park. Yeah, hopefully. Probably 3 reds or Sheffield United, you hope. It's that thing. You want it to... you just want it to be a good game. You don't want it to be ruined by refereeing decisions. You don't want it to be ruined by a potential it was an offside, but then it been given. And then because then you're going to get people go, let's get VAR in the Championship. And it's like, I know Dex is a big component. He wants VAR in the Championship. I don't, personally. Personally, I don't want VAR in the Championship. I want the kind of VAR they use in the Champions League. That's the version I want, because it's a lot more better at seeing offsides kind of thing. All I want to see, Chris Parr doing the jumping jacks at the end of the day. So, yep, I agree. We all want that. We all want to see that celebration. No VAR anywhere. The one that worked the best is the one in the Champions League, because it's the semi-automated one with the offside. That's the one that works the best. But you really... Jesus Christ. You really want to see the game not have any controversy, because that's the problem. If the game has something like that, then it makes it hard. Is the Steel City Derby top 5 English derby? I think it is, but I think a lot of people don't put it there. I think for a lot of people, it's not even in the top 5. Like, generally, I don't think it's in the top 5 for some people. And I think that could be a case of it hasn't been played in a long time. I think it's one of the cases that because it's not had a derby in such a long time, people forgot about it. 5 years is a long time in football not to have a derby, if you think about it. And there's a lot more that is who haven't had it longer. But I think for something that used to be quite a staple in the Championship, especially, then I generally think it is. I think there is a part of it that's why it's not seen as a big derby, because it's not been played enough. We haven't had it in a long time. I get what you're saying. I don't think Palace and Brighton are derby. They said the Swansea versus Bristol was a derby. There's certain derbies that I personally don't think is a derby, but they call it a derby due to whatever. But they get it played as a derby, and it all depends on how people class it. Like, there's a lot of people who don't think they don't think what's he called? Oh, what is it? Is it Hull or Middlesbrough and Hull? They call that a derby. They call that a derby because of where the lines are. Thing is, that's the thing for me. For me, a derby is between two clubs that are closest to each other. Location. Different city, not a proper derby. Yeah, that's the thing. I agree. I generally agree that I think if it's in a city or it's in the same county, so a South Yorkshire derby kind of thing, they're good, but they're not as good as it being a city derby or a town derby, where the same two teams in the same town or city, they're the ones that are the best. Because you got that rivalry. It's our local, historic, massive game. Yeah, it is. But again, the reason why I don't think people see it as a big, big derby is because we haven't had it in such a long time. But it's nice to see Sky and other people making a big difference about it. I get that one, but it's the closest they're going to get. Those two. I think it's the closest they're going to get to their derby for them. And I think it's just the whole thing is tractor versus tractor, in a sense, sometimes. One thinks it's more countryside than the other. But, hey, we'll see. We'll see. We could have an entire conversation on what we class as a derby and what we don't class as a derby. And there'll be a lot that we don't class as a derby. Just the media's made it a derby, or it become a derby because there's a rivalry. Because that teams have a rivalry in the past over something, over a different game, it then turned into one of these derbies. Hold on, I hear noise. Why can I hear noise? Give me a moment. Oh, don't tell me. What time are we on? Oh, what I heard. No, I know it is. Not bad. So everyone versus Leeds the Dove. Everyone wants to beat Leeds because it's Leeds. They're not well liked. As we've all had beef with Leeds. Yep. We've all had some sort of beef with a Leeds fan or Leeds. It's the same with Millwall. We've all had some sort of beef with Millwall or Leeds. It's the two clubs that everyone loves to hate. And I think that's a true statement. I think it's two clubs everyone loves to hate. Everyone can kind of, even if you don't like the other side, you can kind of rally around that side beating that one. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense anyway. But I'm hopeful that it's going to be a good game. I'm hopeful. I'm more hopeful than I was before Tuesday night. So they saw us have put in a performance. Now, normally in a roundup, we've had lots of different bits of news and stuff. But let's be honest with ourselves. There's only one thing we're talking about leading up this week. And this is the derby. And that's the thing. We have to 100% beat with that. Well, Millwall fans smash up the class line tram more than once. Yep. Most of the time they're up here, to be fair. It seems to be the common thing with them. It's always a nightmare when that happens. But 24 people watching, 14 girls likes up people. I much appreciate it. What do you think starting 11 will be? I suspect they'll keep it very similar to Tuesday night. I suspect they'll keep it quite similar. Mm, I mean, the only one that he might swap out is they'll both for Smith, kind of thing. I generally think that. Ingleson was brilliant on Tuesday night. In that role he played Tuesday night, he was perfect. I think for Ingleson, finding where he fits in the squad. And on that Tuesday night game, he fit perfectly. And I think he's the kind of player you want to try and have in your squad who can hold the ball up and do that battling bit, where you can leave Charles and Bannon to just try and ping those passes left and right. I love to see Pato. I won't lie. Pato will be one I love to see off the bench. I think you're starting Windass anyway. That's just a given. Why would you not start Windass in this game? Just why would you not? It was a game that built for him. Yeah, he battled. Ingleson did, but Barry, he completely battled. And I think that's something we were missing in that midfield. It's screaming out for Pato, yeah. It really is screaming out for Pato just to shithouse it. And just be wind-up merchant self. I can see that. If you're going for pace down as a wing-back, that could work quite well. Because I think he has shown he's decent enough. But that's the thing. Do you do that ahead of Matt Lowe? Or do you see what Matt Lowe does? And if Matt Lowe sinks a little bit, you can make the swap at half-time or something. I don't know about Palmer. I think Palmer, some of you come off as bench. I think Palmer's a bench player for this one to come off because he's not really started many games recently. The lineup for this game is not going to be easy. The fact that Danny got three positions he's not sure about yet says it all to me. Because I don't think this is the game suited for someone like a Masaba or Gassama from the start. I generally think it's a game where they come off the bench and make an impact. We will try our best, Louis. We will try our best. Hope you're well, mate. You're flying at the minute. Smith is a man informed. The Blazer without Kiefer Moore and Brewster both injured. That could be a blessing for us with them having their two strikers out. That could help. I think after the United game, we should try Charles out in net. Why? Because I don't see the point of that because you're waiting alone. Why? Why change it to having a keeper they've not played with only in cup games? I don't think that's a smart move. I think you keep Beadle as your number one. And Danny made no signs that he's going to change it. He keeps saying James is our number one. I don't think Beadle put too much of a foot wrong, to be fair. I'm not a big fan of the modern day keeping with parrying, but that is modern day keeping. And we're going to see that. I think Beadle done enough to keep him in net. I think the consistency can't be Arthur said. Hope you're well, by the way, mate. Thank you for joining. Hope you're doing better today. You're always welcome in our chat, in our stream and stuff. I generally think you lose that consistency. You have to pull someone out. And you're acting then a lot of a kid in his first full season to go for it. I think Charles is one of the ones that definitely was going to go out on loan. 100%. But then when Hamer got injured, there was no chances of being able to have someone else. And that's where it screwed him a little bit. But when he had played, he'd been fantastic. I'm not a fan of just changing out keepers for the sake of they're not doing well. I always like to have Charles. I always like your keeper to be the most consistent player, like on the pitch. If you can try and do so, I like to see it be. Danny, people need to chill. I think there's a lot of call for people wanting the change because he's a youngster and he's coming through the academy. Not all the way, remember, he came from City, but he has got really good ability. There's no word of lie. I genuinely think Charles will or could be our number one next year. I'm not saying the that he won't. I think that's something that will happen. The atmosphere. The thing is, you want someone like a Barry Bannon. You want someone like a Windass to just pump that. It's not going to need it. It's not going to need it. But if it went flat due to however the game was going, you want them to pump that crowd up. You want them to get going. I don't think it's going to need it, though. The 12:30 kickoff at the end of the day. People are going to be pissed already, some of them, when they get to ground or had a skinful beforehand. Let him experience a true derby game. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Never experienced a true derby game. That's true. I think there's a part of me that wants to see what happens. Danny's ready for this. The players can tell are ready for this. They're not being vocal on social media, which is good. I like that. Just hope the young player can hack the atmosphere. It's going to be a write-off if they can't. It's going to be good. Yeah. I think they will. I think you look at how some of them come through different academies. I think there's academies that show that. They need to know what it means to people. That's the thing, and that's where your sports psychologist and your elder statesman of the club, your Bannons, your Palmers, your Windasses. I'm gonna have to block all my United friends from tomorrow. I get that. I think the thing is, if you can get a win tomorrow, then fantastic. If we lose, as long as we don't get battered, I'm okay with it. Because I'm going into it wanting a draw. But it's one of those games. It all depends on what side turns up. We know how Marmite this squad is. I think Danny will do quite well, to be fair. I think Danny will handle it really well. I'd be interested to see if there's any bucked up with him and Wilder on the touch lines. If it gets a bit heated, that will be interesting to see. But I think Danny will handle it quite well. It's not like he's been in big games where he's been an assistant. I agree. Being an assistant and a manager are completely different. But I think there's a strong case of him going, I've got this. I know what this team can do. He really was pumped at his interview. It felt like he was ready then. Like it was going to happen at 12:30 on Saturday. That's what it felt like. It felt like it was going to be 12:30 on Saturday, the game, not 12:30 Sunday. And I think that's the thing that a lot of people liked. He was already ready for it. And he will not let any of the players sink. I think we can outsmart the Blunts. We should just it'll be play to win. 100%. It'll be play to win. Danny doesn't do anything else though, does he? If you think about it, Danny's not a manager that would just wait for something to happen. That is not Danny's approach. You've got to think Danny's approach isn't wait for something to happen, see what happens. He wants to play out and properly, and I mean properly, play the right game. It's going to be important that players like Bannon, Palm talk to squad on what they can expect. I think there's a lot of people who are expecting the players not to know what a derby is or what it means, and I think it's a little bit disrespectful to say that. But they will understand what this derby means. If they've seen what it meant to us to stay up, imagine what your naming light could turn into if you're the hero in a derby. I think you just got to pray nobody gets deer in headlights. That's my thing. No deer in headlights and go for it. With how Danny was speaking at half time at the press conference, he seemed very much like it. Will see feeling what it's like at 12:30. They will indeed, 100%. They will 100%. they will come out of that game wanting an international break just for their own recovery in terms of how much it's going to be. Because I think they're going to some very heavy tackle flying in. I would have thought the old guard have built the lads up. Yeah, I agree. I think the old guard would have done that. I think Windass is especially a good one, as well as Palmer. Palmer just being a Wenty boy himself. But Windass being someone who's been in an old firm helps. Bannon being in and around the days of when he was at Villa. Villa versus Birmingham, Villa versus Wolves, Villa versus West Brom. All those ones, knowing what that's like. Like, anytime we go to a club that's in the Midlands, he gets booed. So, someone like Bannon, you've got to think of what I think Masaba will have had it when he was at PSG, not PSG, Monaco, with some of their derbies, Monaco, PSG. I wish I could tell you young'uns how good Boxing Day was. Yep. He was playing in the last derby, Bannon, so he will know the importance of the game. Yep. My only problem, will we switch off again like we do too often? We didn't switch off against Watford. Not against Watford. We switched off against Watford. We didn't switch off against Norwich. And Norwich have been decent, and they've had one of the best players in the league in terms of goals. We didn't switch off versus Coventry. We didn't switch off versus West Brom. There's certain games that we don't switch off on. And I think it will be drilled into them 100% is that you stay switched on. You play the game. We won't have it our own way, like Barry said. But we will have to make our own look, maybe at times, and make our own chances, and make sure if they make a mistake, we capitalise it. If we can play with a mixture of Norwich game and the second half at Brentford game, it's hard to lose in my eyes. I agree. And that's the thing, you got to think, recently it feels really odd because it feels like a lifetime ago. But it was only 2 weeks ago we drew with Brentford, who had a pretty strong squad out for that game. So there's a lot that can go our way if we have the right setup. I think for me, the only thing I will have if it is going, in air quotes, badly, Danny maybe shuts up shop and tries to keep it more acceptable scoreline. That's what I say. I'm not too bad, Glenn. How are you, mate? So that's my thing. But we'll see. This time Monday, we could be doing a debrief, and we could be happy as Larry. And that's the thing. Tomorrow, I've got the preview coming out. That'll be out at 12. And then Sunday, we've got the game. The review will be out as soon as the game's pretty much done, give or take 15 minutes. Then we've got a debrief on Monday, and then we'll have a couple of things lined up for the rest of the weeks leading into when we're back doing games again. What Worko told us about Dominic Iorfa said it the other night proved to me the players are ready for this and for the win. Yeah, and I think that's the thing. I genuinely think it, like, you hear something like that from a player and you're in the stands, you go, oh, I'm happy for this. Let's just see how it goes and goes out. Let's just see how it goes out the window. What are you on about? Let's just see how it goes goes out of the window. Glenn, are you trying to say, let's see how it goes out the window because it's a derby? No, you've got to see how it goes because we can't predict anything. We can't predict what's going to happen. That's why you say, we'll see what happens. Let's see how it goes. I don't think it goes out the window at all. I disagree. Because I think it's a case of you have to... You can't go in with the mentality of I don't think it goes out the window. I generally don't. I think they will be set up to win. And that is something we should all be proud of straight away. They will set up to win. Danny doesn't like losing. Danny doesn't like thingy. I can see how Sheffield Wednesday... I can see it now. Sheffield Wednesday penalty 95th minute. Don't say things like that. Don't know about your piggy mate, but mine are all saying we're favourite to win. A win or draw will do. My mates who are Blades are also a bit like that as well. They really are like that. It's really interesting. Ian and Jake, hope you're well. We are the underdogs, no pressure on us. Hopefully players have freedom and confidence. You hope so, Daniel. You really, really hope so. You really hope that we can hit that underdog title. The only problem with having the underdog title, you can struggle a little bit. You can struggle to get into the game. But we got the players who can know how a derby works. Like, generally, we've got players who know how a derby works, and that's the thing that helps. But, guys, I'm going to love you and leave you. I will be... It will be up tomorrow, the preview. Please give that preview a lot of views, likes, shares. I want to get it out there because it's a big one. Hopefully, we can see what happens. So, let's see how things go. What I'm saying is you don't have to be informed for a derby. No, you don't. You don't have to be informed to be a derby. Like, I'm confused, Glenn. No one mentioned anything about being informed. No one mentioned it. Oh, I'm ending it. See you later, guys.